before I take you onto the ground on the real world, show you Abbeydale Picture House, the Event Central location on Fargate and also Exchange Street, I need to talk about some of the players behind it. Now, True North are going to buy out or acquire, it says acquired rather than buy out, Abbeydale Picture House. So I find that a bit mystifying, acquired Abbeydale Picture House. But let's look at True North. Now I'm going on something from Reddit here, and it's saying True North went into administration, that was back in 2023, and the original company was bought out for £2 by the same directors. So that means that the creditors who were owed money, I'm assuming, probably got only a small percentage of the debts paid. So if that's true, that True North bought out themselves for £2 and just cleared off all the debts or the majority of the debts, I find that quite disgusting, even though they saved 300 jobs. I believe if you've got a debt, you pay your debt. And that's why I don't actually agree with PLCs personally. But let's go to True North's website. And if we just go down there, you can see some of the locations down there. There's a map. You can go onto that link there, and it's showing you some of the locations. So, that, like I said, most of them are based in Sheffield and surrounding. In fact, I think they're actually all in Sheffield, because even the other ones in Mosborough as well. So let's go on to the next player in all of this. So the next player in all of this is called CADS, and it tells you more about it here. It's a charity, it says, and it's arts, culture and creativity. And it's been going since 2009. It's got 6 locations, but you're only seeing 3 here. But I'm going to focus in on Exchange Street and get on the ground and show you that in a moment. Now I want to just show you what Exchange Street looked like in 1978. And you've got Wigfalls there. You've got Woolworths entranceway there, but shops came all the way up Exchange Street. You're only seeing one side of the Woolworths entrance there. Down at the bottom, you've got the Sheaf Market entrance. On the left-hand side is actually the Castle Market. Now, the original outdoor market down here, well, there was a number of outdoor markets, but when it became the modern Castle Market, there was one just round the corner of Exchange Street, an outdoor market, and then this bit here eventually became an outdoor market. But let's go back to charities. Now, back in 2000, when I left HSBC, I was a volunteer at Dinnington Area Regeneration Trust for about 12 months, and I gave about 6 months of my time to them. So every day, when it was a work day, I went in half the day and gave my time to them for about 6 months. But I did it on and off over a 10-year period as well. It's just that when I first left HSBC, I was quite intense at Dart. So I know a little bit about charities. I put some of my own money in it as well back then, but kept it quiet. I wasn't looking for publicity back then from giving money to charity. But I've got no faith in charities personally anymore. They seem to be being run as businesses. I don't know if there's some sort of tax loophole on them, you know. So what do people know about CADS anyway? I mean, are they getting grants from people for running this? Because I know they've got a grant, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So let's get down onto the street at Exchange Street and go and have a look at that, because I think it looks a right ghetto now. That's why I wanted to show you how it looked just there. So you can see Castle Street across there, Waingate down there, Haymarket up here. Now, CADS is supposed to have got some of these units down on Exchange Street. Now, I suspect this may be one of them, but they've took, I think, probably 4 units down here on the old Exchange Street, but it's knowing exactly which ones they are. Let's have a walk a bit further down and just show you. So looking a bit further down, I don't know if anybody can say which ones are anything to do with CADS, but it's so run down round here. And this used to look really nice back in the 60s, 70s. It was really exclusive shops, but it now looks to me like a ghetto down here. So I'm on Abbeydale Road outside the old picture house. To the left hand side you may just see it says Abbey Snooker Club. I think at one bit there was a dance hall under here as well. I don't know if the dance hall became a snooker club, but back when I came round in 2000 it was friends of Abbeydale Picture House, and I came round on a Sunday morning and it was absolutely raining, and they got buckets around the place to capture the water. I think that then folded with them and somebody bought it and it became a climbing centre, and then CADS got hold of it. And then what I'll do is I'll carry on with the story. I'll edit a video at home to finish this bit off. So it gets a bit complicated, so I came home to actually give the information on Abbeydale Picture House. So True North Brewery has acquired the building. I find that, like I said before, I find that strange, acquired the building. And it says it will collaborate with CADS. So I don't know if CADS will carry on being in here or not, but I think they've done a lot of work on how they could improve the building. So I don't know if that's where the collaboration comes from. So in the basement, there's something called Picture House Social, and that's closed at the moment and will reopen in May. And as far as I know, that is owned by True North Brewery. So let's go back to CADS. So in March 2024, they won a community grant of £300,000. And my understanding was that that was to purchase the building and to also renovate it. Now they got into some dispute with, I think, Phil Robbins, who owned the building in 2022 and had stopped paying rent because of the leaks in the roof, etc. But what I'd like to know is what's happened with the 300k community ownership fund grant that CADS got. Where's it gone? Did they not get it, or have they given it back? Or has it been spent on something else? Can anybody tell me? But let's go to this community ownership fund grant or whatever. I think this has come from 3 million in Levelling Up funding that was going to local pubs, cinemas and community centres. So that's just a bit of a thing on Abbeydale Picture House. I'm all for doing this building up, and let's hope True North Brewery do it up in the spirit of what we'd like to see. Now, it used to hold 1,600 people when it was a cinema. I'm hoping they're going to keep that sort of venue. Probably won't be a cinema, but they can actually hold full events here. So I don't know how many people it will hold in the future, but I think that's got to be a positive development. And you can see all the stuff around it at the moment, the fences around it, so they must be definitely doing some work on it now. So like I said, that's positive. I'm all for keeping our heritage, and let's hope we see a fantastic building and it improves nightlife in Sheffield. So we're on an incomplete Fargate. The Greater Green spine should come all the way down here, I think. But you can see the fences there, the Greater Green starts again. Now, it's going to be impossible for them to actually do this bit because this bit's going to become a compound around here. And I'll tell you why it's going to become a compound. This building's going to become Event Central. Now, the money for this has been earmarked 6 years ago. So they've been doing the work on Fargate. Is it 2 or 3 years? Why didn't they start work on this if the money's been earmarked 6 years ago? So that they could actually finish Fargate. So this extra bit of Greater Green, if that's what it's going to become, we're going to be lucky to see that happening by the end of 2026. So there's £8 million earmarked for this building, and it's supposed to have come from the government's Future High Street Fund of 15.8 million. So I'm trying to work this one out, folks. I'm quite good at maths. I worked in a bank for 15 years. So if it's cost 34 million for Fargate, it's £8 million for this event central. How they're going to get it out of 15.8 million Future High Street Fund. And that was actually supported by Sheffield University. Why has Sheffield University got such a stronghold on the city? But the preferred bidder for this is going to be CADS again. So they're going to run it as an event thing. So it's going to be a 250 person concert hall. So what do you reckon, folks? So we're on an incomplete Fargate. The Greater Green spine should come all the way down here, I think. But you can see the fences there, the Greater Green starts again. Now, it's going to be impossible for them to actually do this bit, because this bit's going to become a compound around here. And I'll tell you why it's going to become a compound. This building is going to become event central. Now, the money for this has been earmarked 6 years ago. So they've been doing the work on Fargate. Is it 2 or 3 years? Why didn't they start work on this if the money's been earmarked 6 years ago? So that they could actually finish Fargate. So this extra bit of Greater Green, if that's what it's going to become, we're going to be lucky to see that happening by the end of 2026. So there's £8 million earmarked for this building, and it's supposed to have come from the government's Future High Street Fund of 15.8 million. So I'm trying to work this one out, folks. I'm quite good at maths. I worked in a bank for 15 years. So if it's cost 34 million for Fargate, it's £8 million for this event central. How they're going to get it out of 15.8 million Future High Street Fund. And that was actually supported by Sheffield University. Why has Sheffield University got such a stronghold on the city? But the preferred bidder for this is going to be CADS again. So they're going to run it as an event thing. So it's going to be a 250 person concert hall. So what do you reckon, folks?